Welcome to Explainly's Quick Tips. Today, I will show you how to scrape some simple data from the web using Excel's PowerQuery. This approach will work for simple data tables like those found on Wikipedia. Instead of copying the table, we'll start by copying the URL for this page and take it over to Excel. In Excel, on the Data tab, we'll click on the From Web command. This will open a new form for us to input our URL, which is all we need for this basic page. Once I hit OK, there's a short delay, and then Excel will load the web page's data into our preview. Here, the document table will contain everything related to the web page. You can use this area plus some advanced PowerQuery features to pull pretty much any data set imaginable off of any web page. Below the document, any tables listed in the workbook will show up. This document has two tables, Table 0 and Table 1. Clicking on each table will offer a preview of the data so you can figure out which table it is you need. Clicking the Transform button will load the selected dataset into the PowerQuery editor. We do not need to make any changes, so pressing Close and Load will push this data into an Excel worksheet. This is the ideal web scraping scenario. One website, one table, quick and easy. Let's look at how we can create an interactive web scraper to pull data based upon some different user inputs. This website's dataset stretches across multiple views. This report organizes box office receipts by month and year. The first thing to do is understand how the URL relates to the query, so selecting a different month and seeing how it changes can tell us how the web page is structured. When I select June, the filter changes to JUN. Looking at the URL, we can safely assume that YR is for year. I'll take this URL back to Excel where we will deconstruct it into parts. As this will be an interactive scraper, let's set up a year and a month spot for us to put our inputs, and I'm going to start them with 2018 in June. Now let's take this URL to our From Web form. Clicking on the Advanced Radio button opens a series of options that we ignored on our last pass. I'll paste the whole URL into the first URL part, and we'll cut it up into smaller parts from there. Starting from the question mark, I'm going to cut each piece out and add it to a different URL part. As I do this, you can watch the URL preview change with each adjustment. These parts are combined from top to bottom to construct the final URL, and this can use query parameters if desired. With the parts split out, I'll press OK, and we'll go transform this dataset. We'll need to connect our inputs into our query command, so we'll be briefly diving into the M code behind the query. In the advanced editor, we can see how our query parts have been split into different text pieces. So we need to create a flexible filter equals and year equals inputs in Excel. Nothing fancy, we'll just recreate the exact text with some concatenation and turn our little section into a data table. Once we have that data table, we can load it directly into a query so that we can use it in our other queries code. But first, let's do a few quick query renames to help make our editor a little bit easier to read and work with. With better query names, I can now easily reference the inputs query within our movie data query command using the query name, square brackets field name, curly brackets array index format. Replacing the existing year and filter sections with the appropriate inputs, use, 0 and 1 values, will recreate the query based upon the values that have been indicated by the user within Excel. Once we load our movie data query into Excel, we can start changing our inputs and clicking the Refresh All command on the Data tab to pull data for specific months and years. With this, we've created a very quick and simple web scraping utility. With a little more PowerQuery magic, you could create a fuller version that scrapes all of the movie data into a single table for analysis. More challenging datasets can also be scraped using the document table and navigating through the various children with algorithms or even manually if you know what you're looking for. This Excel file plus some additional links for more complex web scraping will be made available on our blog. We hope you found this helpful and informational. Thanks again for joining me for this Explainly Quick Tip.